It says I'm live. Yep, I'm live. All right. Hopefully, I'm not blowing everybody away because as you can see, I've got a different microphone. And this one, this one is kind of the one that is the non-sensitive one. Remember I told you that the other microphone, I basically started out with remember the blue Yeti stereo mic, and I set that one at exactly 50%, which was perfect for that mic. Of course, Grumpy assumed, which you should never assume, because when you assume, it makes an ass out of you and me, that if I set each microphone at 50%, I'd be at the perfect audio level. Well, I have microphones that if you set them at 50%, you got to go down to 30% because at 50%, they're blowing your ears off. Then I have a microphone that is like the Yeti. I set it at 50%. Perfect. This one, which I'm using today, is the one that I have to go to 70% in order to get a 50%. Now, the audio level showing on the screen, it should be giving me out of 5 bubbles. Anybody that uses YouTube, you got these little bubbles. I should get a 2 to 3 bubble. I'm getting like a 1.5. So I'm surmising that either I'm at a normal audio rate or I'm blowing your ears out. Okay, do a little adjusting here. I don't want this mic strictly right in my face, but if you notice, I've got the drop down bar. Now see, this is basically the way a studio microphone is. And in a studio, 90% of the time, the people doing the show are not sitting down. Lanigan very rarely sat down. He stood at the counter because I had been to the station. Matter of fact, I was sitting right across from him one day, and very rarely would he sit down. Now, his producer, who was next to me, was sitting down, and his kind of assistants, one was the newsman, but he would fill in the conversation. You know, there basically were 4 people at the desk. One was the producer, although producer would, if they were having a conversation, everybody chimed in. But even though the three of them were sitting, Lanigan was standing. And of course, he had the mic raised up. But this is basically the way a studio microphone is in the studio. Plus, with the drop-down bar, when I get the new microphone flag, it gives it enough room to, because otherwise it was like right there. Now, I don't have a subject for today. There were several things I wanted to talk about, and I said, I'm just going to talk about what comes to my mind. And number 30, you don't have to worry about, because at this age, not a lot comes to my mind. But, I was talking yesterday about inflation and the prices of groceries. Well, I got a couple of briefcases. Back in the day, I used to carry a briefcase, even though I was no big executive, but when I was managing body shops, a lot of times I would take work orders and stuff home and go over them, because sometimes they were quite detailed. Well, in the one briefcase, I had three. One I bought, two were gifts. And I would alternate. In one of the briefcases, I happened to find an electric utility bill from 1972. Now, in 1972, I was running 2 window air conditioners, because I hate central air. And I was running a swimming pool filter 24/7. Besides the other electrical items, plus I'd be working out in the garage and I'd have the lights on. This bill was for the month of July, 1972. Cranking all of that electricity. My bill was $22.85. Now, in 1972, $22.85 was an expensive light bill. Compared to my bill for last month. Now, mind you, there are 2 people here. These new televisions hardly use any electricity. They're very, electricity, yeah. Electricity usage conscious. My new computers are very economical to run. The one I run 8 hours. This is my little mini form factor. I only run to do this YouTube stream, and then it shuts off. These lights are LEDs and they run off the computer. The only other major item is my furnace and my stove, and I don't use, it's an electric stove. I hate it. I very rarely use the oven. We've got an air fryer, we've got a toaster oven, and people laugh. A toaster oven. You can't do shit with a toaster oven. Well, this is a convection toaster oven. I can bake cornbread in it and it comes out perfect. If I want to broil some dogs or brats, they come out perfect. I hate using that, and this stove is from the 50s. That's how old it is. My electric bill, $132. And I looked at the electric usage, and I used more electricity in the month of July, 1972, than I used last month. Talk about inflation. Unreal. And, I dare not go on budget because I've gotten screwed in the month of May when they had that little adjustment, where they miscalculated your fucking budget and it was too low. And the makeup month is the month of May, April or May, I can't remember. I haven't been on budget so long. But whatever month that little makeup adjustment is, I've gotten bills of $2.25. I was like, $200? Well, yeah, we misfigured your budget. Well, I asked him, I said, you got all these fancy computers, you can see the usage. Can't you adjust my budget up? Say like, we notice you're using a little more gas than we projected. So your budget has gone from $52 to $62. Instead of screwing me with that monster bill. Same thing with the gas. Because when I moved here, the first thing the girl asked me, would you like us to put you on budget billing? I said, no. She says, well, you're a senior on Social Security, and no. I'll take the monthly shock of the bill rather than having to call EMS to resuscitate me when I get that little makeup bill. No thanks. And then they have this, I call it Chinese fire drill of choose your supplier. You know, back in the day, like 1972, we had the choice of two electric suppliers. We had either the Illuminating Company or Cleveland Public Power, which was the city of Cleveland's power company. I don't even know if it still exists. And then for gas, you had East Ohio, which is now Dominion. That was your choice. Now, in order to choose a supplier, you need 3 Philadelphia lawyers, 2 judges, a doctor, in order to decipher. And then I finally went up to our ward assistant's office. We have an office here that you can go to for help. And it's run by our councilman. It's a neighborhood association office. I had to go up there for help because some of the suppliers, and they're all over the United States, some of these suppliers had 3-month rates, 6-month rates, yearly rates, variable rates. And the ones that had the really low cost were like, that's only for 3 months. And then at the end of 3 months, you got to choose again, because we might go from $2 per million cubic feet to 200. Same thing with a variable. Every month, your rate is all over the place. And right now, my electric supplier, I think, is some company out of New York, and my gas supplier is out of Texas. But I wanted a 12-month fixed rate with no surprises. And the nice thing is, once you're locked in, you're locked in. And this is where the supplier bites the bullet. Because he may give you a rate of $2 per million cubic feet. And then 2 months later, gas prices go through the roof. And he is paying $15 per million cubic feet, but you're still only paying 2. But it got to be the point, I tried it myself. And I have to admit, at 72 years old, I could not fucking figure this goddamn thing out to save my life. It's ridiculous. Choose your own supplier. And then the screwy thing is, even though my gas supplier is out of Houston, Texas. My house supplier is still Dominion. I, do they pipe the gas all the way from Houston to here? It's like a Las Vegas crapshoot. I don't understand how I can have a gas supplier in Houston, Texas, and living in Cleveland. But they were the ones that had the cheapest rate. And that rate is good until August. Then comes August, I got to do the Chinese fire drill selection all over again. But I will do the same thing. I will go up to our ward office and say, help! Because I'm not beneath asking for help. Because I'll tell you what, last year, I screwed myself royal with an electric supplier. Because I didn't read the fine print. And I didn't pay attention to that end column. You know, they give you the rate in nice big bold letters. And then that end column, you need, you know, a magnifying glass the size of the Hubble telescope in order to see what, well, I ended up with a variable. And oh my God. Every month when I would see that electric bill, my asshole would pucker. I was afraid to open it. And there wasn't much I could do. I had to bite the bullet and pay the bill. So this year, when it came time to renew suppliers, I went for help. And I've got 2 good rates locked in until August. But even so, the rates are nothing like they were in 1972, although nothing's like it was in 1972. God, 1972, I think first class postage was like 8 cents. Now it's like 68, and they're saying that they want to increase to 83. Pretty soon it's going to cost you $1 to mail an envelope. I'm just glad that a couple years ago I bought, what did I buy? Four, was it 4? 5 sheets of 10 stamps, 50 stamps, when the postage prices were like 37 cents. Because a forever stamp means it's good forever. So I'm screwing the post office every time I mail a letter. I think I've got two, yeah. I bought 5 because I got 2 sheets of the stamps left. I only mail like 1 or 2 letters a month. Yeah, that's the one nice thing about computers. I don't have to lick a stamp and mail a stack of bills like, you know, we used to do back in the day. You just go online, click, done. Oh, we have a new shirt. I don't know if you can see it. I don't give a rat's ass. That was a gift from a friend, too. I don't give a rat's ass. People look at that and they go, is that a mouse and a donkey? Yeah, I don't give a mouse donkey. I don't give a mouse donkey. I said, take a look. Does that look like a mouse? No, it's a rat. Well, you got a donkey or a mule. Well, what's the slang term for donkey and mule? Ass. I love wearing it because it confuses the shit out of people. They look at that and they go, the hell's that shirt mean? That's one of the few that I actually wear. A friend of mine, knowing my sense of humor, sent me some iron-on patches. And I'm not sure if I'm going to, damn it, I hit that. I'm not sure if I'm going to iron them on or just keep them. The first one is, what we've got here is a failure to communicate. This one I really love. Oh, come on. I'm suffering from CRS. Can't remember shit. The hell happened there? Then we have there's absolutely no excuse for what I'm about to do. And then this one, heavily sedated for your protection. Some people would be offended by those. I got a good kick out of them. But I don't know if I'm going to iron them on. I think I would just rather, maybe I'll mount them to a piece of felt and frame them. Yeah, he told me, he says, I thought of you. He was at some craft fair and there was a booth that made up these patches, but these were all pre-made. And he picked out 4 he knew that would apply to me perfectly. I'll have to tell you, the little mom and pop store up at the corner from me is run by 2 Indian brothers. The one, he still, after, 4 or 5 years, doesn't understand where you just set your credit card on it and it's got 3 lights. Got a yellow light, a green light, and a blue light. And when the 3 lights go on, the purchase has been approved. So I always go, here we go, magic tap, 3 lights, money gone, disappeared, nobody seen nothing. And then at the end of my purchase, I tell them, no receipt, save a tree. Because have you ever seen a receipt from Staples? I went in there and I bought 2 items. The receipt was like 30 inches long. So I always say, no receipt, save a tree. Well, his wife every now and then will be at the counter. And it's funny, as soon as I walk in, she'll go, Dos LDL Grande, no receipt, no. Dos LDL Grande, money gone, no one see nothing, save a tree, no, Well, I went in there today. And his daughter was helping out. She was standing on a little footstool or something. She can't be more than maybe 5, 6 years old. Well, she's in the store a lot. And she laughs at me all the time. She thinks I'm funny. So today, I come in, and she was sitting at a table, I don't know, coloring or doing something, and she came running behind the counter, yelling to her mother and father, me, 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 me. And I'm like, well, she gets up on the footstool. And as cute as can be, she goes, Dos LDL Grande. Tap, tap, money gone, no see nothing. Then, no receipt, save a tree. I almost pissed myself laughing. She has been paying attention to when I come in. The goofy old man with, the crazy beard. But today, it was hilarious because she come running. Me, 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 me. She, Dos LDL Grande, magic tap, money gone, no see nothing, no receipt, save a tree. It was hilarious. And there were 3 or 4 customers behind me, and everybody was laughing their ass off. And she had this shit-eating grin on her face like, I got it all right. Yeah, the name of the store is Brothers, 2 brothers. And you know what's really nice, especially nowadays where, you're considered just a goddamn number, you're another buck walking in the door. As soon as a customer walks in, you get a greeting, hello, brother, how are you today, and as friendly as can be, always upbeat and jovial. Like say the one brother, he don't understand me, son. I can see when I walk in, he's like, oh, God, the fucking nuts here. But, same thing when I go to the bank. And I don't go in that often. But to walk in and the tellers know you by name, it's nice to get that, hello, Dale, how are you? What can we do for you? It make you feel like a wanted customer, not just another fucking number. The one thing really aggravates me is I alternate back and forth where I get my cigarettes. So I'll get them, say, Monday here, and then Wednesday here. And then, I alternate. And it's the same, the two brothers, or where I go to the shopping center, the same woman, all the time, constantly. And I've been going there since they took the place over. There was an Indian family that had the cigarette shop before, and they sold out. They retired, they sold out. So it's been a year and a half, maybe coming up on 2 years. Going in there every week. And, it's basically like every 2.5 days. And not every fucking time I go in, she asks me, what cigarettes do I need? Jesus Christ, I'm in every single week. After 2 years, you can't fucking remember that, I smoke LD Red 100. It's not like every time I come in, I ask for, I'm not coming in asking for Old Golds or Chesterfield Kings. For 2 years, every week, the same fucking cigarettes. And every time I come in, she asks me, what can I get you? Well, I quit smoking fucking LDs. I want Chesterfield hundreds. Or see if you can get me a pack of Saratogas. Remember them, boys and girls? Saratogas? Or Silva Thins? Yeah, I'm going to walk in with a black eye one day. No, that was Terryton. Silva Thins was the guy that looked like James Bond. Because the cigarettes were silver. And they were thin. They were 120s. They were thinner than these. Terryton's was the one, the people with the black eye. Us Terryton smokers would rather fight than switch. I think the next time I go in to say, yeah, give me 2 packs of Terryton hundreds. Or never mind. I want a pack of Saratoga hundreds and a pack of Chesterfield Kings. Saratogas, can't get them anymore. I don't even know if Chesterfield, I know the smaller cigarette shops don't, but I don't know if you can even get Chesterfields anymore. They were big back in the 40s and 50s and 60s when movie stars were smoking a Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the one really fractured me. Chesterfield Kings, they're smooth on your throat. And women were smoking them too. Yeah, Chesterfield was a big cigarette back in the day. And Philip Morris. Philip Morris had the dancing cigarette pack. I'm really showing my age now. But back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, matter of fact, Chesterfield, I think, was one of the first cigarette sponsors. I can't remember the show. Your Show of Shows? I think it was Your Show of Shows that they sponsored. And people, they smoked on TV. Matter of fact, back in the day, we could smoke anywhere. Hospitals, airplanes, grocery shopping. Yeah, I'd be grocery shopping, smoking away. At the end of the aisles were ashtrays, you put your cigarette down. Yeah, you can smoke anywhere. And, it was nothing to go into a men's store, shoe store, clerk could be smoking. You could be standing there smoking, checking out shoes. But yeah, Chesterfield, then Marlboro was a big cigarette sponsor. Old Gold, Filter Kings. Old Gold, Filter Kings. It would be interesting. I'll have to check that out sometime and find out when some of these cigarettes kind of fell off the market. I know Saratogas didn't last long. Silvertons didn't last long. But we had Silvertons, Saratogas, Barkley. Oh, God. You talk about a nasty cigarette, Barkley. I think what they did was they went around to all the cigarette manufacturers and bought their floor sweepings. Those were the nastiest cigarettes on earth. I was kind of surprised the other day. I was standing at the counter and the guy in front of me asked for a pack of Pall Malls. I didn't think they existed. Pall Malls, yeah, Pall Mall Reds. But I remember Chesterfield was a big cigarette back in the day, big cigarette. And we had a menthol. It was kind of a semi-menthol, semi-regular Alpine. That was a strange cigarette too. I don't know how we got on the subject of cigarettes, but I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to see first of all if they still make Chesterfields. But I know, like, I haven't seen Terrytons in years. Silverton's gone. Saratoga's gone. Barkley's gone. Trying to think. L&M. Yeah, L&M. They're still around. I saw them when I was looking at the cigarettes behind the counter. L&M, Pall Mall. But no Chesterfield. Of course, if they're not a big seller, they're only going to sit and go stale. And the smaller cigarette sellers aren't going to carry them. But I'm gonna look into some of these and see, first of all, if they still make them in like Silvertons when they fell off the market. I tried them. It was just, because they were silver. You know, I'm smoking Silvertins. I'm James Blonde 006. Yeah. When the Silverthin commercial would come on, it was always like the guy looked like a secret agent, smoking them. And I'll tell you what, back in the day, and I'm talking 40s, 50s, 60s, cigars. A lot of TV hosts like Milton Berle, Groucho Marx. Groucho always had a cigar that looked like a baseball bat. Cigars were big. Same thing, men with fedoras. If you look at anything from the 40s or 50s, even the 60s, all men wore hats. They all wore fedoras. I'd like to see that craze come back. I've got one. I don't want to ruin it because it's my grandfather's, but it still looks like brand new. But I'd like to see that phase come back. Men always look dignified. Even if you were a Skid Row bum, if you had a fedora on, you looked like something. And with that, I think I'm going to call it a show. And hopefully, I can blow everybody away with this microphone. Because it's set right where I marked it. But I haven't used this one in a while. I'd like to switch off. I think tomorrow I'm going to put the old Blue Yeti up here. The giant mic. But with that, number 30, take care, buddy. You still make my day when I see that number 30. I'd like to see 31. But looking at that subscriber list, 30, you're the man.